This is a question from an AAMC question bank, the chemistry question pack, and take a minute and actually read through this passage. All I'm going to do here is just attack the questions and go over a strategy. So for example, let's just go over number 20. All right, so pause the video if you have to. All right, we're going to go into question 20 and it says, what mass of CDP 403 grams per mole is in 10 mLs of buffered solution at the beginning of experiment 1? So look at experiment 1 right over here. All right, this is experiment 1. And experiment 1 says the chemist dissolves 60 millimoles of CDP in aqueous solution containing all this material and buffer the solution at 8.7 pH. Right, so it's really asking us what exactly is the mass of CDP. Right, so how are we going to figure this out? Right, notice it says the chemist dissolves 16 millimoles of CDP, right, in 1 liter of aqueous solution. So I'm just going to put this right over here, 16. So let's actually, if we know the mass of CDP is 403 grams per mole, right, and we are talking about 10 mLs of the buffered solution. Let's look at what we're given in the passage. We are given 16 millimoles of CDP is in 1 liter of aqueous solution. So I'm just going to multiply this by 16 millimoles in 1 liter of solution. Right, and why am I multiplying by 16 per millimole? If you notice carefully at the units, our final answer should be in grams because our answer choices are in grams. So grams have to be in the numerator. So how do we get rid of all the other units? Right, we want the moles eventually to cancel out. I know it says mole and millimole. We're going to work through that in a second. Right? And how many milliliters of buffered solution we have at the beginning? Well, it has 10 milliliters of buffered solution. Right? Now, if I were to multiply this out, I will probably get my units in grams, but we have to do some minor conversions, right? So I'm just going to take my little lasso. I'm going to move this over here. And I am just going to say, we know for every 1 mole, we have 1,000 millimoles. Let me actually make this, move this over here. So for every 1 mole, I have 1,000 millimoles, right? It's just a little neater, just so you can see it, right? And I'm also going to move this slightly over just so you can see this. We know for every 1 liter here, we have 1,000 milliliters, right? And if I were to multiply this going all the way through, notice what happens here, right? The moles will cancel out, the millimoles will cancel out, the liters will cancel out, and the milliliters will cancel out. And once I multiply this through, I actually get grams as my final answer. Right? And one quick thing I want to show you is if you were to multiply this out, I'll just multiply it out for you. Right, 403 times 16 times 10. Right, I'm going to make this a little easier. What else are we going to cancel out? I'm going to remove one of the zeros and cancel that out. Right, I'm going to divide. Let's just call this 400 so it's easier to work with. Right, and I'm going to cancel out two of the zeros here, right? And if I do 16 times 4, we have 64 divided by what happens when we multiply the denominator, right? It's just 1,000 now, right? So it is 64 times 10 to the negative 3, and that is the same as 6.4 times 10 to the negative 2, which makes our answer choice C.